fun. Okay. Go ahead.
This little idea I had, I made you a custom wood knocker.
No kidding.
With your initials engraved
With my
in it.
initials.
Yeah, and so it's just a hatchet handle that I cut and sanded and treated with a whole bunch of linseed oil, so it should be pretty sturdy. It shouldn't break. With a little lanyard.
How's it sound?
Well, I don't know. Try it.
You try it. You're the one. Let's see. I don't want to break it.
I don't know how it's gonna sound on a tree this big, but
that'll do.
There. Not bad.
Thanks, Jimmy. Oh, it's heavy too. It's nice. Anyways, we are here at, where are we, Jimmy?
With Lacucci River Park.
In Pasco County, which is Pasco County Park.
Yes, we are Pasco.
And why in the Lord's name are we here?
We're having a Florida Bushcraft meetup. So a bunch of people that are on the Florida Bushcraft Facebook page, are all coming together this weekend for a big camp out, practice a lot of skills, gain some knowledge. We're doing everything from wild edible foraging hikes, I guess is the way you say it. We're going to go look for plants. Mike's going to do a Bigfoot hike. Yeah. We're going to do some friction fire and other like bushcraft survival skills.
What is bushcraft?
It's the art of using what's in nature to make your camping experience better. Maybe that's a good way to do it. So you can take less stuff with you and be just as comfortable.
So you can forage your stuff from the natural world.
Right. So say like if we go on a fishing trip and we're backpacking, I can catch fish and there's certain plants that I know that we can use to season that fish when we cook it, so we don't have to carry seasoning with us.
Yeah, okay.
Not that that's a big deal, but,
yeah, but that's
it's
cool.
Cooler to do it.
And you're having, so tell us about the contest that you're having.
Well, so we have a couple. We're having a fire making contest tomorrow. So the participants are going to be allowed to use a ferro rod and a knife. So the ferro rod is the long black rod you see in all the survival shows that you scrape and it shoots sparks. They're only allowed to use materials that they gather out here, nothing man-made, aside from the ferro rod and the knife, of course. And our plan is to set up posts, pretty much like how they do on Survivor.
Yeah.
Posts 2 or 3 feet off the ground, and we're going to run twine in between those, and the first person to get their fire to raise up and burn that twine wins.
That's awesome.
The next contest we're doing is a spoon carving contest. For some reason, carving spoons goes hand in hand with bushcraft and survival. I have no idea why, but I like it. And so we're going to have a spoon carving contest. We've got a couple people that are going to be the judges for that.
Cool.
What else are we doing? Those are the 2 main contests. We're having different demos and classes as well. My friend Robert is over there, and he's setting up tarps or something. So he's doing an emergency tarp shelter setup.
Oh, cool.
Demo here around the same time we do the bow drill setup.
Yeah.
We have a communications class in the morning.
What's that about?
To use bowfangs, they're like fancy walkie-talkies.
Oh, okay.
So,
cool.
They're more like maybe a CB radio that's portable. So a fancy walkie-talkie.
We use them in search and rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool.
The guy running the class doesn't like me call them walkie-talkies, but I think it's funny. So,
Nice.
I didn't know what they were at first, and I called them walkie-talkies. He's like, you can't call it. And then I saw one. I go, dude, that's a walkie-talkie.
That's a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah. What other classes? Water purification.
Okay.
Brian Story's going to run a class where people can sit around and make their own stropes, which is
yeah. What the?
A piece of wood that's flat, a piece of leather on top, and you take your knife and you drag your knife across the leather and it hones it. Oh. Think like old barber, with the leather things.
Okay.
But this is a hard and flat for our type of knives,
yeah.
And that's what gets them shave sharp.
Sweet.
So, what other highlights we got?
Weekend here in Florida.
Yeah.
All because of Jimmy. We have like 80 people coming this weekend, all because of Jimmy, and it's sponsored by a bunch of cool people. Do you want to shout out your sponsors real quick?
One Wind was a big one. Pine Ridge Forge. Brian, I forget the name of his leatherworking business, but his stuff is outstanding.
Brian Story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Centerline Systems. They make like canteen carriers and other bags assortments. There's several, so I'm definitely forgetting people.
Yeah.
I have like a list that I go off of.
Yeah, send me the list and we'll put them all in a thing.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, it's going to be a fun-filled weekend here in Florida. Thank you for joining us here on this episode of In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. Jimmy, Mike, we're going to have a fun-filled weekend this trip, right?
Are you going to tell them what you're going to do?
What am I gonna do?
You're gonna do a Q&A around the fire tomorrow night.
Q&A around the fire tomorrow
Tell lots
night.
of Bigfoot stories.
Yeah, Bigfoot stories.
And then you're gonna lead a couple night hikes.
And then I think we're gonna do a couple night hikes. One tonight, one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because why not, right? We're in Florida. Let's do what we want to do.
We're gonna step on a snake, pet a bear. It's gonna be exciting.
And get eaten by some boars.
Yeah.
Get bored by some boars.
You ride them.
Oh, you ride the boars?
The trick is to get 2 boars, and you tie one to each foot, so you just haul ass.
I told Jill the trick to getting away from the boars that you have to jump up on the tree.
Yeah.
You know, and climb the tree.
Oh, I just stabbed my friend, so he can't run, but I can.
I know, but yeah.
How cool is that? Custom wood knocker.
So right now we are leaving the group campsite here at the Florida Bushcraft meetup in search of a paved bike path, which is about 10 feet away. So we're gonna see if we can find it. Oh, look at this. A cacti. We have found our first cacti here in Florida. It's beautiful. Oh, here's a hole. This looks like a den of some sort. Probably raccoon.
Oh. I feel like because we're stopped, all the bugs have just surrounded me right now.
Me too. Okay, TC1, success.
Should we pinpoint it on?
Yeah, can you? Yeah, it's not too far away, but if you want to. I'm gonna have to really bug spray up when we get back to camp.
Yeah, trust me, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, that's good. That'll do. TC2, set up.
We're gonna use a leaf to attempt to catch a coal, assuming we can get one. Our fireboard is also cedar that I cut from that big hunk over there. This is also pretty old and dry. That should be good. And then my bird's nest, which is lacking. I should have gathered some more, but it should be big enough. Is just a bunch of brown stuff from a palm. So you can call it brown fluff. People call it monkey fur. So someone says monkey fur, they're talking about this. That way you know. And the trick with this stuff, what I see a lot of people doing wrong, even with ferro rods, is you don't fluff it up. Like you need to do this, because what it does is it separates the fibers to where you're not trying to make something big catch on fire. You have a lot of little things. It's just easier to catch a spark. So this one catches a spark and then gets the other ones burning. Just easier. So make sure you fluff up your monkey fur. Just get into it. Start slow.
Are you using a lot of pressure?
Not a lot at first. But as you start getting smoke, that's when I usually apply more pressure. So we got smoke. See if we got something. Nope. That's always so disappointing. Push that a little harder. Try to go fast. The knot should be fine.
I like a good wide knot. Got it already.
Get it? Oh yeah. Finish it off.
Wally.
Go lower. You got it, you got it. Lower. You can get the orange stuff.
There you go.
You have a really good kit, by the way. I have not done this in about 4 or 5 years. So.
Hey guys, I just wanted to show you this cool keychain that I just got back in stock. It's Bigfoot Yeti keychain. Everybody that loves cryptozoology, Bigfoot, Yeti, Grassman, Skunk Ape, you name it, definitely needs one of these. Back in stock, can't beat it. High quality, heavy duty, really cool. Like I said, everybody that loves these guys needs one, so get them while they're hot. So, we were just invited to check out this brand new demo hammock. So let's check it out. Look at this. Oh yeah, this is where it's at. And you zip up at night. Oh, come on. This is glorious. And what you even do too is you put the ridge line up here. So you put these things, you attach them to the ridge line here.
It's a little on the difficult side.
A little tough, but there you go. And then you could zip it up and you are good to go for the night. How awesome is that? That's got to be an awkward angle, but it works. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm taking a nap. See you in a little bit. It's really cool. See, I just don't understand the setup though. I mean, it's just like, it's a lot of setup.
Jimmy, how long did this take you to set it up?
10 minutes? But I mean, I've done this like a lot.
What's the difference between a hammock and a tent? Like, what's better between, like, if someone is watching my video and said, I don't know what to buy, a tent or a hammock?
Right. Tents are way easier. Way easier if you're backpacking. They're lighter weight. If you buy lighter weight tents. There's less stuff to know with a tent. Hammocks can be involved with different types of knots. You have to know settings. Like for instance, when you're hanging your hammock, your straps should be at a 30-degree angle. Little things like if you do that, that's pretty much a 30-degree angle. But you're not going to know that right when you start unless you research hammocks. And I research everything, so that's how
I didn't know that.
That's how I know that.
Yeah.
But lots of hammocks are just involved. You know, you have hammocks come in various lengths and various widths, and that is a very personal thing. And so sometimes you have to buy a couple hammocks to really know what size works for you. So typically taller, you typically want a longer hammock. And the other thing is, when you have a hammock, you don't lay in it like this, because you do what's called a banana, where you're just like that. So what you do is you lay it a diagonal on the hammock, and what that does is that pushes the fabric down where your head's at and where your feet's at, and creates a flat spot.
Oh.
So you're actually flat in the hammock. So when you get in, you climb in, and then you move your feet all the way to one side to the edge of the fabric, and then you move your top body, your head, all the way to the other side of the fabric, and that gives you a flat lay if you have hung everything else right. And that's just the hammock. Then when you get into the tarps, knowing what size tarp to get, because say if my tarp is shorter, it'll still work if I hang it lower. If my tarp is bigger, I can hang it higher and still get rain coverage. There's various knots to learn, like prussics, clove hitches, bowlines. Those are the 3 that I pretty much use. On this side, I use 2 clove hitches only because I went to fire school and they burned those into my head. I've never met anyone else that uses clove hitches for this side. They use like a trucker's hitch or various other types of hitch knots for this side. But for me, it was just easier to use a knot that I already learned. But not everybody's going to know that. So they're going to have to go on YouTube and learn different, we call this a ridgeline.
So you say
ridgeline knots.
you would say this would a hammock would be if you're doing anything more than leisurely hammocking.
People hike the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail in hammocks.
But you would say that's more of an intermediate skill?
Now, here's where you start getting into benefits. So in a tent, you're just in a tent, right?
Yeah.
Now in a hammock, I could be in here and it could be pouring rain. And I can chill out. I have a seat. I can lay down and take a nap if I want. I can put my gear right there on the ground.
Yep.
I hang my hammock to where it sits like a chair. And the best part about that is I can have my drink right there too. And I can reach out and grab my drink, set it back down, and I'm good. What a lot of people don't like that I actually like a lot is when my hammock rocks.
Okay.
So some guys will guy their hammocks out so they don't move. See, I like that. It makes me feel like I'm on a sailboat somewhere. So I'll reach out and I like to have my hammock low enough where I can grab the ground and push off so it rocks me like a little baby to sleep. And it's nice.
Now, what about hammocks with people who like toss and turn?
So that could be an issue. So a better hammock for that so what they say in gathered in hammocks, once you sleep in it for several nights, your body is going to be naturally accustomed to this and sleep different in this than you would normally at home. If that's too much for your brain, then you might want to get what's called a bridge hammock, which is what I really like to use, one of my favorite hammocks. It's much flatter. There's less material, and I really personally enjoy those a lot. For me, it gives me more airflow when it's hotter out. So than these, because when it's hot out, even this little bit of fabric in the bug net will trap heat. Now that's great if you're in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Not so much in Florida.
Right.
So imagine if this was here, and we had like a lot of wind with rain. That rain's going to come right in and get you wet. Now with it being 6 inches to a foot in, you're good. But what I see people doing wrong is having too short of a hammock or too short of a tarp and hanging it too high to where you're just not going to get coverage and you're going to get wet.
You want to get coverage.
You need coverage.
Need coverage on all times.
All times.
So 3-4 years ago.
Hold on 1 second.
It's recording.
Oh, okay.
All right, so 3 or 4 years ago, I was on a solo hike of the Green Swamp and Richland Trail. I was going southbound from Highway 50 to 471. The first night I camped at Foster Bridge campsite, about a quarter-mile hike from the Withlacoochee River as a water source. So I set up camp, set up a hammock, tarp, and whatnot, and everything was normal. It was a very cold night, probably it was high 20s, low 20s.
Tell them how far that is too.
What's that?
Tell them how far Foster Bridge is from the parking lot.
Foster Bridge is, I think, from Highway 50, 16 miles.
Oh, wow.
From a parking lot. From
16
people.
miles
So there you go.
from the closest trailhead.
Well, yeah, I mean, there would be Compresco grade, which would be a main dirt road that goes through the middle of Green Swamp, would be pretty close. But, I hiked in that day. That was my first night. I stopped. It was getting dark. I had made camp, and late in the night, fire died down. I was there by myself, and I heard people. I heard someone talking off in the distance. So I figured, this is on the Florida Trail that goes through Green Swamp. That somebody was, hiking in late at night and coming into Foster Bridge campsite. So I got up. It was defined enough in the voice and the inflection. I couldn't tell what the people were saying, but I could tell it was people talking. So I got up, got some more firewood, thinking that there would be more people coming into camp, and stoked the fire, and sat there and waited. And I kept hearing people talking, but I couldn't understand what they were saying. And the only way I could explain what the voice was, it wasn't really like people talking, it was a voice saying something. And the way I can explain it is, if you took an old lady with a New England or Boston accent and played it backwards.
No kidding.
Yes. And it came as close as from here to that light right over there, which is what, 30 yards. And I could hear it plain as day, to the point that I couldn't understand it, but I could tell that it was something. That I could tell it was a voice saying something. Couldn't understand what they were saying.
Now I'm going to play you something. And
I've heard it described as a swamp witch since then.
And I want to see if this sounds any way similar to what you heard, right?
You hear that? You hear the voice in the background? And then later on that night, I had a lot of, found out that was the bulls that are penned up near Foster Bridge campsite.
No kidding. Okay. So at least you found that out.
Yeah.
That's good.
So my dogs, when I'm watching TV, they only react to when there's animals on the TV, like actual live animals making noises. And I pulled that Sierra Sounds thing up once, and my dogs flipped out. Like I said, if I played a recording of me or anybody here making those sounds, they would know. They wouldn't care. But something about those sounds got like a huge reaction out of my dogs.
He's fond of like playing
Different dialects across the country.
Could be. Yeah. They had that southern twang down here.
Yeah. So a few of us are doing the Ocean Lake Trail down South Florida. It goes from the east side of Lake Okeechobee, so in the middle of the state, and you hike east till you get to the ocean. It's like 60 miles. And this was on night one. We hiked 9 miles into camp. I mean, we were in the middle of nowhere down there. And it was me, Tim, my buddy Brian, who's not here. I think he's coming this weekend. He's not here. And anyway, we're there and we're hanging out. It's nighttime. We got like a little campfire going. We're eating, and we're all hanging out. And the Brian that was with us is very matter of fact. Like I'd have to see a Bigfoot to believe, that kind of guy. And I see him looking up. Like we all pack little backpacking chairs with us, and I see him looking up, and then I see him stand up and go and look. And so I look up, and there's these flashing lights in the sky, and we're like, dude, what is that? And so now all of us are looking up, and a couple of the guys in military training are listen. Military planes don't do that. It goes like a string of them. They're all flashing and then eventually going away. And we're like, it could be an exercise maybe, but they're really high up there. And we're all like freaking out. And then at the end of the trip, I went home and I was like, I wonder if anybody else saw those lights. So I Googled, string flashing lights, South Florida, and it was Starlink, the satellites that we saw. I had no idea what none of us, we all heard of Starlink, I've never seen it. So when we saw those, because it was real weird, and we're just like, what is that?
You got fooled by it.
Yeah, it got me. It got me.
It's Florida.
James, meet over here for a night hike.
Oh boy.
Thank you. Over here.
Here we go. Wow, look at everybody.
I think we're all here.
Okay.
Don't forget, you promised to lose 7 of these guys, so.
Oh boy.
At least. Okay, so my name is Mike. I travel around the country and look for Bigfoot. That is my full-time job, and I am here tonight to look for Bigfoot with you guys. Cool. So, has anybody? So what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna just go on a very easy, simple hike right down the road. It's a paved path, not too big of a deal. But what we're gonna use is thermal imaging technology to look through the woods to look for Bigfoot. Has anybody ever used thermal imaging technology before?
I have.
You have?
Yeah. It's rare.
So you know what it's like, right?
Yep.
Has anybody ever seen like police pursuits on the camera, on the police chases and stuff? You see like the sparks and stuff. This is the same technology. I'd like to pass this around so everybody can see through this and see exactly what we're looking at. So what you're gonna look at is
FLIR Scout.
It's a FLIR Scout 2. Yep. And what you're looking at is everything in that is hot is bright red or orange. Everything that's cold is going to be black.
How much was that?
It's about $500. So if you break it, you buy it.
So, fun story. When him and I were up in Torreya on our first Bigfoot trip ever, they had like thermals and night vision and all that stuff. And so we're out on a night hike, and I'm, looking, and it's really cool. Mostly see, raccoons, things like that you can't actually see. And then off in the distance, maybe like 100, 200 feet away, there was a deer. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Look at that deer. It's bent over eating. And then it came up, and it wasn't a deer at all. It was a bear.
Oh.
And I was like, oh.
I've got a radio on me.
Okay.
I want to leave a radio with somebody that's staying, in case we run into Bigfoot.
Okay.
So who should we leave this radio with? The big fire pit?
Yeah, find somebody to stay. Sean Strickland's staying.
All right, I'll give this to Sean. That way we can
Go. So we're at Cold Creek. There's 4 of us. Me, him, our buddy John, and my wife at the time. And I'm gonna skip to the night part. So it's getting dark. It's dark. Mike starts being, let's go on a night hike. Let's go on a night hike. I'm like, dude, we didn't do a lot of night hike. I'd never done a lot of night hiking back then. I'm like, that's a terrible idea. There are rattlesnakes. There are cottonmouths. There are bears. There are boars. There are scorpions. There are spiders. There's all kinds of things and reasons to not go hiking through the woods at night. Take Bigfoot out of the equation. There's lots of reasons why that's a terrible idea. So, but he won't stop bugging me. Like a kid, every 2 minutes. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go on the hike. Let's go. Eventually I'm like, fine, let's go. So I had one of those big yellow, flashlights you get from Walmart for like $5 that are awesome. Oh, yeah. I had one of those and a big Gerber sawback Bear Grylls machete deal. So I'm like double fisting, light in one hand, machete in the other. Because I'm thinking I'm about to fight a puma or something. And so we start going. And Mike is so into it that so he would stop at this tree, do a Bigfoot howl, and do tree knocks, go to the next tree, Bigfoot howl, tree knocks. And this went on for probably 45 minutes. I should also mention, much like Brian's story just did, Mike had a walkie-talkie on him, and he left one at camp with our buddy John. So, every 5 feet, Bigfoot howls, tree knocks. Every animal in a 10-mile radius knew there were two idiots walking around the woods at like midnight. We were making so much noise. As you guys probably all know, most of the time you make a lot of noise, animals run away, even bears. So we're going on the trail, and we turn this corner, and my big spotlight goes, and boom, there's two sets of glowing eyes staring back at me. It's eye shine, right? Except at the time, humans don't have eye shine from lights. At the time, I did not know that. So, because where they were, my first thought was that they were hunters, and they're out there poaching, and we just caught them illegally hunting in the middle of the night, and now they're going to be shooting us. That's like instant thought, right? So I dropped my light. I'm like, oh, hey, sorry, guys. We're just messing around, because, like I said, we've been making a ridiculous amount of noise. And I'm like, you guys doing all right? Sorry to bother you. And they don't say anything. I shine the light back up, and there's the eyes. And they were in front of one palm tree, behind one palm tree and in front of this other one. So we knew exactly where they were. And shine the light is like, you guys doing okay? And it's like, nothing. And then one set of glowing eyes looks at the other and then looks back at us. That was sketchy. I lowered the light. All the hair stood up on the back of my neck like Danger Will Robinson kind of thing. We took a step back. I was like, hey, you guys okay? And it's like still dead quiet. And then Mike finally goes, hello? And like nothing. And I shine the light back up and the eyes are gone. We didn't hear a thing. There was no anything running off. They're just gone. So we're like, hell to the no. And we took off. So we marked the tree. I hit the tree with a machete, didn't I? Yeah. Or we kicked a rock, I think. Either way, we knew where we were. Yeah. We start beelining it back to camp. I mean, we were freaked out. So we're going, and Mike gets on the radio. John, be advised. We're coming in hot. And because we all work EMS, that's how we talk on the radio normally. Maybe not that excited, though. And so John comes back on the radio, and he's like the most mellow dude ever. He's like, copy that. I hear you guys approaching south of the camp. Mike gets back on the radio. Negative. We're approaching north of the camp. Or repeat, we're approaching north of the camp. And then John comes back on because something was walking around the campsite, like just on the outskirts of camp. And he gets like radio's like, oh, copy that. Yeah, just hurry back. And so we get back. I'm completely freaked out. I don't think I went to bed till like 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So the next day, we pack up and we hike back out to where we saw the eyes. Once again, thinking that it's probably humans. Once again, did not know humans don't have eye shine. But from seeing the TV shows and stuff, because this is before you had your show. So I stood on the trail just like they do on the shows, and Mike walked out behind this palm bush in front of the other one, and he raised his hand up to about here, and that's where the eyes were. And I'm like, all right, unless there's like ninja horses out here or something, I don't know what that was. So we start looking for prints, but and that was a pine forest section of Colt Creek, so you guys know that gets real hard packed, right? And there was a little bit of a dip in the ground too. And what we did find, I remember, was a giant handprint. But we're not looking for big hands, right? We're looking for big feet, so I just dismissed it. And later that week, I was doing research online. That's when I found out humans don't have eye shine, so it couldn't have been people. And then it occurred to me, if it was a Bigfoot and it wanted to hide from us, and he's kind of like right off the side of his tree, maybe he doesn't run away. Maybe all he does is kneel down and planted that hand. And that was it, but
now,
neither of us thought about, handprints. Would now.
And that was, as the crow flies, maybe 4 miles?
I could hike there in probably a day.
Yeah, not far away.
Yeah, 2 days. I hadn't been camping yet. As an adult, I don't think at all.
Now, this is before, Jimmie is now big into the bushcraft survival thing.
This is before Florida Bushcraft started. This is like years before that.
I knew him before this. He was like a couch potato, right?
Yeah, wasn't I DJ down in Ybor?
Okay, you all right? You were a couch potato DJ.
I was a aging hipster.
EMT.
Yeah, aging hipster mostly. So, all right. So I'm on an ambulance one day with our friend Sam, and Mike's on an ambulance with someone else. And Sam looks at me and she goes, "Hey, you know what Mike's doing this weekend?" And I'm like, "What?" So this is around the time that Survivor Man, Dual Survival, and more importantly, Finding Bigfoot were brand new shows on TV. That's how long back we're going. And so I knew from watching Finding Bigfoot that you could pay to go on these expeditions. So Sam goes, you know what Mike's doing this weekend? What's Mike doing? He's going on this Bigfoot expedition. And I knew immediately what she was talking about. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, why didn't you tell anyone? She's like, I don't know. So I called Mike. And I'm like, hey, buddy, what you doing this weekend? And he's like, oh, Sam told you, huh? And I'm like, yeah. So you're going Bigfoot hunting? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, why didn't you tell anyone? He's like, well, I was afraid people would think it was weird. I'm like, it is weird. Doesn't mean it's not going to be fun. He's like, oh, do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go. I said some different words in there, but yes, I want to go. So we go up to Torreya, and I'm thinking we're going to see the biggest group of weirdos ever. Turns out that's this place. But no, it was all like really normal. There was like a couple people that are biologists. There was another paramedic there. There was a firefighter from Daytona. This was like normal people that have just had experiences or whatever. So, but they do have all the cool gear. They had thermal imaging. They had night vision. They had the sound things with the big dish that you can catch HBO on. I don't know what those things are. So, and it was cool because they let you use all this stuff. And so, like I was saying earlier when he was showing his thing, it was one of the nights we were looking through the thing and there was the bear. And Mike and I were camped kind of over on the side, and we started hearing tree knocks or howls. I can't remember what happened first.
Tree knocks.
It was tree knocks. So we're camping kind of a ridge, and it really drops down, and there were tree knocks coming from one side, and then there were return tree knocks coming from over here. And I'm like, oh, it's happening. This is crazy. And I remember we did tree knocks back or something, and then ultimately things started getting thrown into our campsite. Rocks, pine cones, whatever. And so I'm like, I'm going to throw something back. He did not want me to do that. They're going to make it mad. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to make it mad. I'm going to get it coming to campsite. We're going to see Bigfoot for real. And so I throw something. He gets mad. And then a big rock gets thrown into our campsite, which was a little unnerving. And you almost went to sleep in the car.
No, it was a big rock.
Yeah.
We're not talking about like a big rock. We're talking about like
Boulder?
You can't like a basketball? We're talking about laptop.
Yeah. Well, plus it was a valley. Like, you couldn't throw a baseball all the way up that thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that was Torreya. It was wild.
So if anybody wants to come bigfooting with me tonight, you're more than welcome to.
They've been waiting for 20 minutes.
I know.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get some more activity. Yeah. Thing.
Do you have IR on that camera?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got pirate mode on your camera? IR.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a Bigfoot. You don't see me.
We should, instead of all these little things we're doing, we need to have a Bigfoot walk-off contest. Who can do the best across the walks, iconic Bigfoot traits? So you heard about the time all those dudes showed up at McNeil. We were all camping, reserved the site for ourselves, and everybody's made food, everybody's settled. We're sitting around our fire, we're having a good time, s'mores, snacks, stories, and out of nowhere, 4 or 5 pickup trucks slamming, jamming in. I mean, this place is 7 miles in, private. You have to have the gate code to get there. Out of nowhere, unexpected. Everybody that was coming was there. So all these trucks come flying in out of nowhere.
That was our first meetup ever.
They all stopped together on the edge of our big group camp. So the equivalent of basically somebody pulling up in the parking lot and just like not interacting with us. They all get out of their cars, and all of them have assault rifles. They're getting out of their cars already shouldered with assault rifles, which is cool. We've got our own, and ours are suppressed with night vision. Great. But all of them have assault rifles, and we have no idea why they're here and why they're rolling in hot.
Suppressed means silencers.
So yeah, it's like 10 o'clock at night. Like, some of us are in bed, and they're rocking up. Not playing music. So like, a drunk group of frat boys would be playing music. Just no music, pulling up, getting out with rifles. So we're like, oh boy! And they get out, and we didn't even get a chance to be like, what in the Kentucky Fried are you guys doing here? None of that. Not even a chance. This guy gets out, he goes, it's okay, we're with the Bigfoot research program, something. And without missing a beat, I go, how big of a foot are we talking here? Because this guy was like 4.5 feet. His rifle was as tall as he was. Like,
Jesus.
so he gets out of the truck, and they're just like, walks up to me with his little rifle on his shoulder. And he's like, we're with the Bigfoot research. We're just here to check our cameras, get our footage, and we'll be out of here. We didn't know you guys were camping here this weekend. I said, we have reserved spots. You guys can't be here. And also, like,
God.
cameras? He goes, yeah, we got cameras all over these woods. I go, look, my wife is here. Other people's wives are here, girlfriends. We've been using the restroom in the woods. Like, where do you have cameras? They're like, we're just here to get our footage and we'll be out of here. I'm like, where are your cameras? Like, we've been peeing all weekend in the woods.
Yeah.
On the edge of, what the hell? And they're just like, oh, well, we're just here to check our cameras. So, we'll be out of here. And we're like, they ended up bailing pretty quickly.
So
Because they knew they shouldn't have been there.
we had.
That was my first interaction with Bigfoot. And then Jimmie tells me all about you and the fact that you're a person. And not just like, because he had mentioned like this feller, and it was always these wild stories about your, and that was when he finally like told us, like when you've known somebody a long time, they start telling you about their weird they're into. He's like, he told me about you.
Yeah.
And everybody else too, because he had to spill the beans. The jig was up.
So I have a good backstory to one of his videos. One of the
Because
ones
you were there.
that we were at Freak Creek.
Oh, Free Creek
So
is amazing.
he had a truck camera set up, and he walks up to take a piss, and we know that because it's timestamped.
Sure.
And the next day we check the trail cameras. There's the back end of a Florida panther that was
Oh
there
my God.
5 minutes after he went to take a piss.
Free Creek is amazing.
All right, guys. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna do a Bigfoot call. We're at a good spot. There's been sightings here before. So I'm going to do a Bigfoot call to try to elicit a response to try to get Bigfoot to reply back to me. So, it's going to sound loud and scary, but we want to make sure we stay quiet and listen for a response back. Sound good?
Yep.
Woo! I didn't hear anything, so let's keep going on.
The tower.
Hold on. Oh, stop. See it? See it? Right there? See it? Right there. Little.
Shoot her!
I mean, it is a Pasco County ride. He's probably asked us for a cigarette or something.
Do any kids want to do a Bigfoot call? Come forward.
Look down there in front of you.
As hard as you can. You ready? Go for it. Do one more. Do one more. Keep going. Nice.
Good job, guys.
Nice. What was that? Was that anybody over here? What the hell was that? Nobody threw anything over that way.
I might have.
You did? Okay, Jimmie did.
Do, re, mi, la. You ready? Whoa!
60 people being silent is impressive.
It's incredible. Yeah, they're into it. Good job, guys.
Isn't it
Did
cool?
you think this would ever be a thing?
No. I never thought that I would be in the woods at all. Talk about like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm leading a hike in the middle of frickin' Central Florida, looking for Bigfoot with 60 people behind me. Come on.
Shh. Where's the flare?
Flare. I think that's like raccoon type things. Maybe. If not like something small.
Does this thing record too?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, you can see details. You can tell who people are.
You can see like mustaches.
Here. I don't know who it was, but I could totally see somebody's dong through their pants.
Hey, so we're gonna do a call from up top here.
Okay.
I'll let you know when we're ready.
It was an immediate stop.
All right, guys. So we're gonna do a Bigfoot call. So let's just we're gonna just let's be quiet for just a
little bit.
second here. You're good.
Shit, I didn't mean to do that.
All right, so let's be quiet here. Woo! 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 Did anybody hear anything?
It's like in that direction.
An owl? I think I heard an owl off that direction. Maybe an owl. I don't know. Did anybody hear anything else?
It sounds a lot like my 1-year-old at 6 a.m. when he wants a snack.
Yeah.
Could you do us a favour? Could you, not as loud as you did, but could you give us the sound we're expecting to hear back?
The same.
I know you're not going to get the echo of it, but kind of do it like a low tone of.
Woo!
It's going to do that back.
It's gonna do the same thing that I did back. Is that what I have found is gonna be the most common response.
Like an echo back.
An echo, but a pitch like a half octave lower. Yeah.
If I watch it, I'm going to fall down the rest of them.
That's pretty cool.
I grew up on that.
Hey, so right before your howl, like literally like a second before you started, we heard something that way.
Really?
There is
Yeah, it sounded like a hoop.
No kidding.
I can't see it on this.
Yeah, it didn't sound like an owl. It sounded like a hoop. But literally, it was like, it probably wasn't even done yet when you started.
Well, you definitely got it on video.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was you, but it was coming from
that way.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, you know what we got to do.
Go that way.
Let's go.
Wait for everybody to get down.
Yeah.
Well, we can get out to the road and
Wait a second. The guy that's directing us doesn't know how to use
compass.
compass. Are we okay with this?
You guys have compasses?
The class is tomorrow at 11. Settle down.
Hey, I'm taking the same
haven't
class
seen
as
that yet.
y'all are.
Oh yeah, in Ocala.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
Thanks for telling me about that. I appreciate it.
yeah tree knocks and howls like
Yeah. Great.
100%, but like there was like a huge field, and it was definitely. I mean, it was way on the other side,
Oh yeah.
but like yeah, no question. Like even the guys that aren't into Bigfoot were like, that's what that was.
That's awesome.
Did I tell you about the time that I got sick and hiked out of the green swamp and the bear followed me?
No.
No, I didn't tell you about that?
No.
So I went out, and I hiked into Gator Hole. So it takes me about 30 minutes to hike to the campsite, right?
All right.
And so I'm there, and I brought in like a bunch of butter and powdered milk, and I made chicken Alfredo at camp.
Chicken Alfredo at camp.
Yeah. 10 minutes after eating it, which it was delicious, by the way, I vomited undigested chicken Alfredo everywhere. And so I'm sitting there. I feel fine. You know, I'm like, it just had to come out.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm like, should I leave? Because if it's still in my system, I don't want to have diarrhea in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I'm going to clean up my campsite. You know, I didn't take a whole lot of stuff with me. I was like, I'll just start packing up for the morning, stuff I don't need. And if I leave, I leave. If I don't, half my cleaned up, you know, for the morning. So I'm doing that. And I bend down to get my tent for something. Knee pops.
Oh, no.
Fall down. My knee's killing me. I hobble over to the picnic table. I tie a schmogger on my knee as tight as I can to try to stabilize it.
Yeah.
What is it?
There it is.
Oh. So I'm like, well, now I'm definitely leaving because I can't bend my left leg, and if I end up with diarrhea in the middle of the night, it's gonna be a big problem.
Right.
I'm like, I'll just hike out. You know, limping, probably take me 45 minutes, which is what it did. So I pack up. Thank God I had trekking poles with me. I could barely walk.
Wow.
So hike it out, and something starts following me. And I'm just assuming it was a bear. So it was like at like a 45-degree angle off my left, right in the bushes.
That's not good.
Like 5-10 feet into the bush, so I could never see it.
No.
But you could hear it, and it would keep pace with me. And if I stopped, it would eventually stop. Keep going, it would start back up, and until eventually, I just turned and started yelling a whole bunch of in the woods. You motherfucker! You want a piece of this? You don't know what you're in for. Oh. And clacking my trekking poles together. Yeah, and yeah. After I yelled all the tough shit, didn't follow me anymore.
Yeah.
And made it back to my car, and then probably like 2 weeks later, a couple weeks later, I was back out there hiking, and there's one area where there's all sugar sand, giant bear prints. Like, I'm sure they were bigger because it was sugar sand.
Yeah.
You know, like how the foot will slide or whatever.
Right.
But they were big, and it was 100% bear tracks, like no question. And I'm like, well,
there it is.
On that terrain trip that we was talking about, it was also the first time you did like a real hike, and I had done a real hike before. So they come get you, or you're going. I'm like, Mike, yeah, make sure you take some trail mix or a sandwich, you know, something. You're like, oh, I'm fine. It's just, you know, we're going a little hike. I'm like, yeah, but like, trust me, you're gonna get hungry. You're like, ah, it'd be fine. Just a little hike. You came back 8 hours later, like pale and sweaty and shaking. They just kept going. They just kept going. And Trails is hilly. It's, you know, mountainous. Like, it's a workout there. They just kept going. You were panic eating. It was bad. So we did our first Florida Bushcraft meetup, this one location, and it was the first one we ever did. So none of us knew each other. We were all pretty much meeting for the first time. So people would show up. It's like, hey, cool. Who are you? You know, kind of thing. And so we're all sitting around. It's day 2, so Saturday morning. We got a little fire going. It's probably like 10 o'clock in the morning or something. And we're all hanging out. Might have been a little later. I don't remember. Either way, pickup truck pulls in. It's like, these guys pull around and look at us like, hey guys, what's up? You here for the meetup? And they go, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, go get set up and come hang out. So they drive the truck to the far end of where we're all camping. They start pulling stuff out. And so we're hanging out for a while. I was like, well, let's be nice and go say hi and introduce ourselves. So 6 or 7 of us walk over there and like, hey guys, what's up? You know, Jimmy, just want to say hi, introduce yourself, you know. And the guy looks at me and goes, are you with the FBI? And I'm like, no. And he goes, because we're supposed to meet the Florida Bigfoot investigators. I'm like, oh, that FBI. So, like, no, dude, that's not us. But we rented this whole area, this whole campground. You're welcome to hang out with us if you want. They're like, no, we're supposed to meet, Bigfoot investigators, and we're gonna be, Bigfoot hunting all around here and drug cameras. I'm like, yeah, whatever, it's cool. And like, just let you know, we all carry firearms. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It's like, so we're going around and, we're heavily armed. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And he goes, you don't have a problem with us, being heavily armed? I'm like, no, dude, everybody is. Like, we're a survival group. What the thing's happening here? I'm thinking we're going to OK corral this shit, So they're getting set up, and my buddy Alex left the gate unlocked. So we're like, let's go lock the gate before any more of these guys show up. So Alex and I get in my Jeep, and so it's like a dirt road through the woods to get out of that location. So we're going, and another group of Bigfoot guys did a show there. The Small Town Monsters guys?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they filmed there. Either way. So I start driving down a trail with my buddy Alex, and the Bigfoot dudes had packed up in their giant truck and were following us. And I was like, oh man.
That's not good.
So I start driving faster. They start driving faster. So I start driving real fast. I'm driving.
That's me.
What happened?
That's me.
Oh. So I start driving dangerously fast down this skinny trail that my Jeep fits on, weaving around trees, and these guys are hauling to keep up with me.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, man, this is gonna be so bad. And we're almost to the gate, and I'm like, you know what? If we're gonna throw down, we're gonna throw down. So I pulled through the gate. I got out of my Jeep. I'm just ready. And these two guys pulled up, and they're dying laughing. Their mood was totally different. Like, hey, sorry, man, we are in the wrong area. Man, we were trying to keep up with you to get out of here before you lock the gate. And Jesus, dude, we can barely keep up with you. It's like, our guys are down the way. And I'm like, oh, cool. And they're like, sorry to bother you guys. See you later. They're like the nicest guys ever now. And they left. Weirdest thing ever. I don't know why that little guy was so mad.